All right, guys, welcome to episode 21 of the Blue Puffin Podcast. Very excited today to introduce my next guest. It's a close friend of mine from basic training. We go back to 2011. Is that right, Daryl?
Yep, 2011.
2011. All right, so please give a warm hand to my friend Daryl Brownfield. Welcome him to the stage. First podcast he's done, right?
Yep. It's great to be here. Great to be here, man. It's first time, so if I'm a little nervous, it is what it is. But I'm trying to get an important message out there to veterans and just anybody that's seeking any kind of help.
Okay, that's definitely a good start to the message. Well, let's start with this. What exactly do you remember about how we first met? Like, why are we still friends today? I guess.
I remember the day I met you out on the gravel.
Well, I don't know if you're
out on the gravel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We
I don't know what started it, but I remember I just sat down beside you while we were eating MREs because we never got to eat at the chow hall, even though our company was connected to it. And I was like, oh,
yeah, right.
I think I might have asked what you were eating. I think you were eating like maple sausage or something like that, one of your faves.
Probably, that's all I ate.
And it really kicked off from there. Yeah, man.
What was your MRE of choice?
My MRE of choice, it took a little while, but I think the chicken with noodles, just because it had the Tabasco sauce in it. You heat up your chicken, throw that Tabasco sauce in it. It makes it tasteable, bearable, I guess. Actually, it's pretty decent.
I remember looking back, it wasn't that bad. So I remember battling, for everyone who's watching who hasn't been to basic training, sometimes you're in this environment where there's 24, 30 guys who are supposed to go get the MREs for the rest of the company and spread them out amongst their squad or platoon. And so if Daryl over here, he wasn't even in my platoon. But if one of us was sent to go get those MREs, like we would fight for the other person's MRE of choice, so we could at least come back to the gravel. Be like, hey man, I got your MRE. Like, all right, man, maple sausage. Rock on.
Because one day it would be my platoon picking it out, and I'd have his maple sausage, and then the next day it'd be his platoon. So I wanted my chicken with noodles. So
I got it for him. There you go. That's awesome.
Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
That's how this relationship's definitely worked, and this whole time, right? And then we actually got stationed together at Fort Hood, which was interesting. What was your favorite part about Fort Hood?
Man, I really like. I guess I just like the state of Texas, man. There was as far as Fort Hood goes, Fort Hood. I wouldn't say it was, the greatest experience because, I don't know. It wasn't the best experience for me, but the area I really enjoyed because I was an hour away from Austin, a few hours away from San Antonio or Dallas, and I could always, go find something to do. Go float the river or go down to 6th Street and just hang out, get away from work for a little while. What did you enjoy about Fort Hood?
So I'm going to take some notes. I'll hit on that in a second. I'm going to take some notes while we're doing this because I realized throughout my past podcast, instead of having to listen to them again like 3 or 4 times, if I just take notes the first time of things we hit on, that's so much easier than having to go back and listen all over again because I hate listening to myself talk.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing about Fort Hood, well, I had a lot of family in Dallas and a lot of friends in Dallas. And that was, 3 hours away? 4 hours away?
Yeah, it wasn't too far.
So that was great. Shout out to my cousin, actually, who lives in Fort Hood. And I didn't know, it's like really distant relatives. And we met at a family reunion last year. But Jared Tristan has a barbecue joint in Fort Hood. So I'll be sure to tag that on here. It looks delicious. I wish I knew about it when I was there. So if you guys are at Fort Hood, hit them up. It's good looking meat. That's all I'm saying. Good looking meat.
Good looking meat's hard to come by, man.
No, barbecue done right, very rare.
Oh yeah.
Very rare. Yeah, so that was my favorite thing is having family close by, and of course, Texas is great because of, um, I guess, a little more lax when it comes to gun rights and things like that. So,
Yeah.
I guess the environment. I grew up in Oklahoma, um, which is enough said about that. But go Pokes, even though I
Well,
have
yeah. I mean,
Tennessee here
I'm in
too.
Alabama. There's not. I can't flex my state too much. I mean, we do win national championships on the regular, but
I knew
not
you were gonna say that.
it's not
Yeah, I knew you were gonna
necessarily
say
my
that.
school. But we have won one recently, so I can't. You know, I'll leave it at that.
When y'all win last in football?
2010, and we were there again in 2013.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh,
No, I like Auburn, and I like that article you sent me about how Auburn's just a more classy, more wealthy OSU.
what's that
I really
guy?
do appreciate
What's that
that.
guy with the salt? Just throwing it.
Yeah. Yeah, the sprinkles, whatever,
Yeah.
the GIF.
Yeah, just throwing a little bit out there. Oh yeah, man.
That's awesome. All right, so we hit on Fort Hood. I'm gonna write down maple sausage too. Maybe that's a good hashtag. Maybe some people just want to listen to this because they like maple sausage.
Yeah.
It's my favorite, personally. Um, what about your? There's three things I noticed that you wanted to hit on as we were talking earlier, and the reason why you wanted to come on the podcast. And again, Daryl, dude, I appreciate you coming on. It's awesome for you to do this. I've had a lot of people. Uh, Most of my friends are military, of course, unless I met them before 2011. But a lot of people say they'll come on the podcast. Very few actually have the ability to actually get on the podcast and speak their mind. So, dude, I do appreciate you doing this. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. It's definitely new to me. I'm not familiar in this area, but I watch podcasts all the time. I like consuming content, especially if it's content that can help you build yourself, or just advice, or it doesn't have to be any of that. It could just be purely for entertainment. But I, I
Hence
like
the
I like that.
Kardashians, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you do it for whatever you want, but I do it to listen to self help. I like a lot of Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro. I listen to Joe
Oh, yeah.
Rogan, Sam Harris. A few intellectuals out there, and they all have differing opinions, and I can listen to them and form a conclusion myself as to what I feel is the best, I guess, ideas.
Okay. And I completely agree. I think listening to Bill Burr was my first podcast I ever listened to. And
Monday
I
morning.
know you know who that is. Yeah, Monday morning podcast and Thursday afternoon, right before Friday podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've been listening to him since 2011, and I didn't really get into Joe Rogan really until I got out of the army. I think in 2018. But it's really interesting to hear somebody speak their mind that you may never talk to in real life. It's kind of like almost like a safe zone to me. You can hear
Yeah.
their opinions. You can hear their guests talk, and it's kind of you can form your own ideas based on that, and hopefully you get some entertainment out of it.
Yeah, well, they're definitely influential people, and they're saying something right, or it wouldn't be as successful as it is. But it's
Yeah, got that right.
it's all about choice. There's so many other podcasts out there. I asked for some podcasts the other day on a Facebook status, and I got flooded with 100 ones that I didn't hear, that I've never heard of, and I went and listened to some of them, and they're informative too. So you know everybody's
Well,
got their own
name one
stuff.
or two of them. If you remember, do you remember one or two of them that are
Yeah,
kind of
I
off the
couldn't
beaten path?
remember it. I'd have to look on my. I think some people suggested Duncan Trussell, and I've listened to a few of his. And then people
Duncan
were
Trussell.
Duncan
I'm
Trussell.
gonna
He's
pull a Jamie real fast. Hold on. I'm gonna look him up. It sounds so familiar. Go ahead. No, keep talking.
yeah, no,
I'm pulling a
Duncan
Jamie
Trussell.
slash. Yeah.
Yeah, I already seen him on Joe's podcast a few times, but I went and listened to some of his own podcasts,
Oh, that's
and
right.
yeah,
Okay.
he has a lot of people on there too. He'll have some neuroscientists, just psychologists, psychiatrists, all kinds of different people on there. Just interesting people.
So he's an American actor, voice actor, stand-up comic, known for his podcast, The Duncan Trussell Family Hour. That's actually a pretty clever name. And he is famous for his appearances on the Joe Rogan podcast and Joe Rogan Questions Everything. Do you know what that is? Have you seen that?
I don't believe I've seen it. I've heard them speak about like stuff they did with it. I think it was
Oh my gosh,
geared
dude.
toward extraterrestrial search
And
and stuff like that.
Bigfoot mainly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Bigfoot. Yeah, I remember. I've heard them talk about it, but I haven't watched it myself. You know.
Oh yeah. I've only heard about it from Joe Rogan and his. I think in one of the stand-ups he talks about. I'm not gonna ruin his jokes. Just listen to Joe Rogan stand up about it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I get all my conspiracy knowledge from them.
Really? Oh man.
Well, I'm not
I
that
thought you got
big
some
into
of it for me.
conspiracies. Well, yeah, you know, we've had a few of our own, but you know, they've also been pretty crazy.
They've been pretty. Yeah. Well, he got us on that. I think Joe Rogan's one of my favorite things about him is how he hears all these crazy conspiracies and he goes along with it and he plays it out in his mind versus shutting it off immediately, which is kind of how I think most intelligent people handle any kind of conversation in any given situation.
Yes.
You play along with what the person's saying and listen.
Yeah, Joe has a really good skill, man. He's a very excellent communicator, and he's so articulate with his word choices. And like I've seen people that were horrible guests on his shows, and he's just like, I've seen it get to him. He'll roll his eyes like, "Are you gonna let me talk too? Like, can I have some input here?" But he's just
right.
he has a great system. Yeah, he has a great system.
I think that takes time though, right? He's what, 54, 55?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily age as much as it is just the experience. I mean, this is what, your 21st, man, and I mean, you can already see the improvements you've made from 1 to 21. So
I don't even want to talk about the improvements. It's like it's night and day, and hopefully it gets better for sure.
Yeah,
you're right. Though.
We're trying to reach more people and help out as much as we can, or just entertain. But sometimes that's all people need is a good laugh or whatever.
Well, between you and I, there's plenty of stories we can make people laugh about. Should we do the funnies first, or do you want to go into the seriousness of the great message you have? Which one do you want to do?
I'm not sure if I can do the funnies right this minute because that'll probably get me all off track, man. I've got some things written down here, and
let's hit it off then. Let's hit it off. What you got?
Okay, well, this is something that I know that some of your buddies, definitely some of my buddies, and myself, I've experienced this. It's post-military separation depression. You get out of the service, and you've known how to do this certain lifestyle for so long. Everything's task-oriented. It's easy to comprehend, and you just get into a rhythm. And really, everything about the military is a bond, in my opinion. I got out. I didn't have my buddies around every day. I didn't have that camaraderie. Kind of just lost a sense of purpose because it's like, what am I doing? I've worked all these in and out jobs. Like I was a sales rep for Jack Daniels, for Miller Lite. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm getting people drunk, but what am I really accomplishing at the end of the day?
And so I'm still learning how to interrupt here. Let's give some context to like your age and when you got out.
Okay, I was 23 whenever I got out, and I'm 27 now. So I did.
What year is
that? A little over 5 years. I got out in 2016. Yeah, May 2016.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've worked a few in and out jobs, mainly alcohol sales, and some other ones just because sales wasn't my specialty. It's not that I wasn't good at it. It's just it's not the kind of lifestyle I want to live. There's no holidays. Right. There's 100 reasons, but I'm not sure if that all hit I think any job I would have been working still didn't address the issue that I did not have a sense of purpose anymore. I wasn't out
So I
defending the
wrote that
country.
down.
I wasn't out defending the country. I didn't feel like, okay, I'm getting people alcohol. I'm building a boat, or I'm doing this. It's like this stuff isn't impactful. I mean, yeah, it might affect one person, which, growing up, I realized sometimes that's all it really matters, but I had to find a sense of purpose again. And that really leads you to some dark paths if you're not careful.
Well, so when you and I were, and I didn't, I'm putting you on full blast here. I didn't tell you I was going to talk about this, but when you and I were at Fort Hood, you know, we had trained. I had trained for 6 months because I got broken, then had to re-enter basic training. Another story. But we had left Fort Benning, Georgia, to go to Fort Hood, and we were ready to deploy. Like the drill sergeants the whole time were saying, "Hey, this time next year, your boys will be in Afghanistan or Iraq or whatever it was," right? And in my head, that was a serious sense of purpose. Like we were, again, in my mind, I was going to be there for a few months, and the next thing I know, we're going to be shipped off and saving each other's lives, taking care of the mission, right?
No.
And we show up at Fort Hood. Next thing we know, we get told that we're standing up a brand new unit.
Yeah,
Welcome
we're
to the
transitioning. We're
club.
transitioning to
Hey guys.
cavalry.
Yeah. And so we show up and we're like, hey, what the heck is going on? I'll say it. What the hell is going on around us right now? And the people who are in charge are like, well, we don't really know, but all we know is we're changing this from, blah, blah, blah to this. And this is cavalry. Now we're going to be infantry with cavalry. And we haven't really worked out the bugs yet, but you're not going to deploy for 3 years. And all of us, I remember showing up being like, are you kidding me? Like, we just got through amped up 4 or 5 months of, hey, get ready, get ready, get ready. And you show up like, it's going to be 3 years. It's like, I've been trying to date you this past 4 months. You're telling me we're going to get married. All of a sudden, you're telling me it's going to be 3 years. Women
Yeah.
who are listening to this, you got to understand. I know the women definitely understand this concept. You're dating a guy for 3 or 4 months, saying he's gonna marry you, and all of a sudden it's gonna be 3 years. You're gonna be like, no, I'm not really interested anymore. I appreciate your time. See you later.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that choice, and
Oh
that was,
no.
dude, that hit me harder than a brick of bag of bricks, because I dropped out of college to do this. And you were young. Oh man, how old were you? You were
Dude, I was 18.
what, 18?
Yeah, I
18?
turned 19 in
18.
basic.
Yeah. Yeah. And so here we were, a bunch of, well, I was one of the older people, but we had this vision of serving our country and getting deployed, and we'd been, I don't say brainwashed because that's not the right word. They were preparing us for what was a possibility to happen, right? The drill sergeants did their job. I'm not repping on them at all, or anybody for that matter. It's just how it happened. But when you enter that large group of men, what, 1,000, 2,000, who were ready to go overseas, and all of a sudden you put them somewhere and say, you're not going to deploy for 3 years, and we're not really sure what's going on with your unit or where you're going to be, bad things happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. Unless you're in an infantry unit, I can't say you don't understand, but that's a lot of testosterone being bottled up, and that doesn't usually
Constantly.
result in good stuff.
Yeah. And so for me personally, there I was, and that's another reason why we're so close is because we've been through some of those hard times. I know myself, sometimes I drank too much during that, I was there for 8 months. I drank too much every now and then during those 8 months, where I'm not proud of, I'm ashamed, but I didn't find any purpose. Luckily, that's why I got into EOD, because they were supposed to deploy more. And I transitioned out of that unit. Um, But I guess what I'm trying to go back to what you're saying is the sense of purpose is whenever you got to the army, at least you had that structure.
Yeah.
And now when you got out and you move back home, you didn't even have that, 3-year goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, it was really just lost trying to find what's going to make me happy, and thinking that something external was going to be the thing that made me happy was one of my
Like, what do you mean?
just thinking, oh, well, if I got this job, or if I had, these kind of hours, or if I was making this much money, that I'll actually be happy. And, I've made a lot of money in sales. I've made a killing, and it didn't make me happy. I didn't have any free time. I was always stressed. And I didn't feel like I was making a difference. The biggest thing, I didn't feel like I was making a difference. And looking back, I may have been, but it was the inside. It was me being separated from that structure, the camaraderie, and everything that really just drove me to some dark paths. And I started abusing substances. Never got off onto anything like really hard, but I mean, alcohol and weed, and I don't care what substance it is. No matter how, if you abuse it like that, it can become a problem. And I'm an advocate
100%.
for medical marijuana. I no longer use it, and I drink occasionally, but I was addicted. It's a big different story than where I am currently. I was just searching for happiness, and then medicating myself to feel something other than shame or guilt from being separated. And you know
I think it goes back to the sense of purpose, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I found myself in the military. When I drank the most is when I felt, reflecting back, of course, like when you're in the moment, you're not like, hey guys, I'm at this party, I'm doing a cake stand because I feel like I don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
That thought isn't going through your head. But
Yeah.
reflecting back, I definitely see how I didn't know what was next, and I didn't have something to prepare for. I didn't have something to do that was constructive for something I can leave behind as like a legacy. And maybe you can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
When you say purpose, to me that means legacy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, my military career didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I'm looking back, I can't say I have any regrets, because I'm here now, and I'm actually in a lot better state mentally. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give back, and if anything, just be someone to help veterans, or it doesn't have to be veterans, but I know that they can relate to a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. And because I see it on my timeline, all of my friends like, oh man, I wish I was in the army. I miss my battle buddies. If I could go back, I'd do it again. You
Yep.
know, so
Well,
it was a big struggle.
what? So you say it was a big struggle, and you and I talked earlier. We both agree it still is a struggle, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, and
Um,
I mean that's one thing. If you've ever had to deal with addiction, or if you've ever overcome it, and I don't want to say overcome. I have my own feelings about addiction. I feel like it's always there, but I feel like I became in control of it, and really getting
yeah,
that under control, getting a clear mind, and you, uh, I'm not sure what gave me the sense of purpose back, honestly. But I think getting over the
well, when did it
addiction,
happen?
um, it probably happened about a year ago. Well, probably about 2 or 3 years ago, two and a half. I started since I was in this big addiction thing. I did alcohol and weed, and occasionally some other stuff, but not like anything hard or serious. I wasn't addicted to anything hard,
Yeah,
and but I was offered a psychedelic, and I was like, okay, well, I don't really know anything about it, but like I heard, I'll see some stuff. Did it with the intentions of a recreational drug. I wanted to see the experiences. I wasn't prepared for what it would do to me.
Don't be honest, Daryl. Hold on. Don't be honest. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's great. Okay, you wanted to see what it was like. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to see what it was like, and then wow, you want to talk about a transformative experience, and I want to preface this by saying I'm not encouraging this. This is purely anecdotal, and I've heard this from other
Thanks.
people, but it's purely anecdotal, but it's something that helped me out, and I can't tell you exactly what it did, but there was a paradigm shift to where that I was looking at all this stuff in my life negatively, and instead of looking at it that way,
Hmm.
I spun it around into something that I was actually proud of. That gave me back that sense of purpose. And it also made me reconnect with God. So that's one thing, and
Oh,
that could be a sense of
okay.
purpose thing
That's a
right there,
huge.
man. You know.
I think that's to me that's the number one purpose for me personally.
No,
And
feeling like
that's
you're connected to the
you
Almighty.
never told me this, by the way. Yeah, you never told me that's how you became reconnected to Jesus Christ. So we're definitely diving in here, folks. Strap in. I got to hear
Okay.
exactly how that happened.
Yeah. Well, at first it wasn't like that. It at first it
Well, I
drew
didn't know
me
you drifted
away.
away. Like you and I had discussions since 2011 when we were in basic about Jesus. We both agreed that that's it. And I didn't know that you.
Oh yeah, I drifted.
I definitely went my separate ways from Jesus, but yeah, I didn't know you drifted also.
Oh,
So I'm interested in hearing
I
that.
drifted hard, and it's still something that I have to battle, but it's something that I'm fully convinced now, um, and that is one downside to psychedelics. It will open your mind, and it will make you question everything that you've ever been taught. And religion was one of those, but it also I had to get to a point to where I couldn't refute anything the Bible said. Like everybody's like, oh, well, there's so many inerrancies and all that. I was like, well, let's look at the total picture here. And Jordan Peterson, man, if
Big
I went
picture.
back and listened to all
Oh
his
yeah.
lectures from like Genesis and Exodus and how he breaks down the psychology of the literature and how it really what it really means. And, I think it was, can't remember his first name, but it was called Pascal's Wager, and it's basically it is better to believe in God and that He doesn't exist than to not believe in it and He does exist. So you know,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
always felt like that wasn't a wholehearted conviction, so I wanted to keep
I completely agree with that idea. Yes.
yeah I wanted to keep researching and just just circumstances in life. I kept getting beat down, and then like out of nowhere, God would send me an angel in the form of, my mom or just some random person.
A phone call or
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah. You're struggling, something
Something
hard
weird.
hits, and then you've already doubted everything that you can. And then he finds another way to prove himself.
It's like tapping on the shoulder, like,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah.
I know you thought you forgot,
Yeah.
but here I am."
It'll make you break down, man.
Yeah,
I don't care how big of a man you are. Whenever God speaks to you, it's it's compelling. It's powerful.
it is. It is.
Oh yeah.
So you drifted and you tried these psychedelics recreationally, right? And so how'd that um, transform into you growing closer to God?
Well, whenever I did it, like I said, that paradigm shift,
You
it
questioned
wasn't.
everything, paradigm
Yeah,
shift. Okay.
it wasn't all positive either because it made me confront some harsh realities. Um, I was smoking cigarettes too much. Um, Now 18 months without a cigarette. You know,
Oh,
I
dude,
was I
man,
was
we used to smoke all the time
drinking.
together. Congratulations, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it just flicked something in that mind. Like I didn't stop immediately, but every time I lit up after that, it's like, hey, you remember you
Right.
said you were going to stop this? When are you going to do it? when are you going to do it? Like, why, a month from now? Stop now. It started with cigarettes and then alcohol, boom. And then more recently, marijuana. I'm done with it. And even with the cigarettes today, it's still a battle. I'll go have a few drinks with some friends, and one of them will light up.
Right.
I'll smell it up. Man, that smells nice. That smells nice.
That's especially after a few beers and a cigarette smell. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's been 18 months, and I've drank a few times since then.
That's awesome, Daryl.
Still no cigarettes.
Well, I'm guilty on the cigarettes still, so maybe hopefully you'll inspire me. Well, you are inspiring me to stop smoking cigarettes. I don't know why I still do it. It's a bad habit.
It's hard. It's
But
hard.
yeah, I make my own excuses of why I'm still doing it, and it's hard to admit that I'm making excuses because everyone has a reason.
That's what addiction is. You'll make an excuse if you can.
Nailed it.
You can justify it in your head if you have an addiction. It doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. But I will tell you the reason why I smoke is I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No fight over here. No fight on this side. I'm just kidding. All right. So
I'll tell you why I do it. Bitches be tripping.
Yeah, I'm telling. Have you guys seen the economy lately? I'm telling you, I can't stop right now. Like it is a bad time to stop smoking cigarettes. No, I need to stop smoking, especially because I do hope to live a long time, and I do hope to set a good example. I realize that as I grow older, one of my goals in life is starting to come to fruition of younger men and women looking up to me for advice or as a role model, and at least I hope they do. But the few that who reach out to me, I would feel now that I think about it, I would feel more guilty than I can imagine if they saw me smoking and picked that up and then died because of it.
Yeah, so, I can understand that.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't brought that up. Now I'm having to reflect during my own podcast. Thank you, Daryl.
Well,
I appreciate you.
Here's something else to ponder. Do you want your last moments on Earth to be gasping for air? Do you want your family for that to be their last memory of you?
No, it's definitely not a good way to go out.
Yeah, and I mean,
in my own mind. You're not preaching to me, no, but you're right. You're right, Daryl. You don't have to defend yourself. I'm the one on the defense here because I'm the one doing something stupid. All right.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's still a struggle. 18 months later, whenever I smell one, or I've already had a few drinks with some buddies, it's still a struggle.
All right.
And I want to let you know that's not going to go away. But at some point, it just after me lighting up and that voice in my head, hey. You've already said you're going to stop. Like it's either now or never.
Right. So maybe whoever's listening, I will make one commitment, and this isn't one of those. If I get so many likes, I'll stop smoking. That's not it.
Like,
I would love to hear. Like, I would love to hear comments from people who also smoke who want to stop. And I'm just brainstorming here. I will say this. I know I'll never stop smoking cigars. That's going to happen at least once or twice a month the rest of my life. I know that for a fact.
I still smoke cigars.
If I die that way, yeah. And if I die that way, I mean, at this point, it's better than smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
But if anybody's listening and you want to stop smoking, leave a comment, email me. Maybe we can start some kind of Daryl Bobby group. And Daryl can lead us through stop smoking cigarettes on a daily basis. I don't know. It could be fun.
I'll just put up a live feed of me going throughout the day, not smoking. And I want that to be enough power.
Like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You don't
do it.
No. What about this? No, no.
No.
Okay. Is he get it? He hands in his pocket. It's his keys. Not a cigarette. It's not a cigarette.
Uh,
All right. Cool,
yeah,
man.
nah, man.
All right.
I know it's hard, man. That's why I
It
don't
is.
want to, say anything judgmental about it because, fuck, man, I still want to do it sometimes, but
Yeah.
I've already made it this far. I'm not going to mess it up now.
Yeah. And even if you smoked a cigarette today, I wouldn't judge you for it. The fact that you've gone 18 months without smoking as much as we used to smoke, I mean, yeah.
Well, think of
I
this.
don't know how we did it. We would run like
We went.
5 miles and smoke cigarettes before and after.
Yeah. Well, think about this.
Why were we smoking?
We went
Good.
18 weeks without smoking, and as soon as we could smoke again, what did we do? We picked up one, and one led to what?
Dude, we
Yeah.
were buying them by the packs. But
Yeah.
also at the same time, like our run speeds didn't really decrease that much because we were in
Oh,
such a good shape.
oh no. If you would have asked me at the time, like, hey, I needed a Newport before before a PT test because I ran a faster
Yep.
2 mile. But that's
In our heads. Over time, is that really true?
yeah. I don't know. I know I wouldn't be able
No.
to run that now,
No.
but
Probably
I'm just saying off of
exactly.
I started smoking again after basic off of one cigarette, and that's why 18 months later I don't want to chance that one cigarette.
I think what happened there is we would smoke cigarettes before the running, and it would boost our adrenaline because now we have to run faster to prove that we can smoke and run. And it's the testosterone mindset, right?
I don't know, man.
Because how mad were the people who didn't smoke and we were outrunning them?
Yeah, but you could also look at them and tell the reason we're outrunning them.
Not all of them, but yeah, I don't know whether you were in the line.
Oh, I maxed out my run.
I'm kidding. I never
Halfway
maxed
through
out my run.
basic.
Yeah, I was just trying to sound cool. I never maxed out my run. My run's the worst thing ever. So
Well,
never
I
been a
wasn't good
fast
at
runner. Never will
push-ups.
be a fast runner. You what,
My weakness was the push-ups. I could always get at least like
bro?
70 or 80
Really?
points. Yeah, I don't know,
Oh,
man.
dude. Okay. All right. Maybe we'll do a push-up challenge. Your push-ups?
Yeah,
That's the easiest thing. Okay. All right. Well, back to
running
your
is the easiest thing. Put one foot in
no,
front of
dude.
the
It's not
other.
the easiest thing, man. I know. Are we really gonna have this argument? Push-ups versus running? No, running is the hardest thing because
Yeah.
at some point I'm running and my body is hurting. I was 7 years older than you, dude. You have no idea the wear and tear that 7 years does.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
I
sit
think
there with
I
the
think
headphones on, your hat
I think
backwards.
at 25, I could have ran faster than you did at
I'm
25.
messing with you.
Actually, no, man.
100%, dude.
It's a fact.
No, yeah. Well, you don't have to like push it in my face about it. I'm admitting it right here. Okay,
I'm
ladies and
messing
gentlemen,
with
this is
you.
how an Army infantry guy acts. You admit you're wrong or that he has the upper hand. He's like, yeah, don't you forget it. I'm Daryl. Thank you,
Oh,
Daryl.
I
Appreciate
remember
that.
going over to your barracks room all the time, and you tell a story, and then you're like, "All right, man, go ahead, go ahead. I know you're about to one up me. Go ahead." I'm like, man, I wasn't even
I
thinking
wasn't
about
going to bring that
anything.
up, but you had that look in your eye like, I think I can one up him. I think I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I see
All right.
everybody's interested in your story. Y'all need to hear mine.
But seriously, guys, listen to me. You won't even, you think that was crazy. Listen to my story. Yeah. And that's the testosterone, right? That's the testosterone of a bunch of dudes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
stuck in Fort Hood.
Or in the military in general, right?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
know
I
what?
don't think
Actually,
Fort
I
Hood
thought
made
about
it
this too.
easier.
No, definitely not. And I thought about this too. So I've been in the financial industry, and it's a male dominated industry. So there's, for lack of better words, measuring contest almost every day. And you know what I mean by measuring contest, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I've noticed that veterans have a bad habit of thinking that it's only military that this stuff happens to. And I'm realizing, I'm looking around, this is actually happening all throughout civilian life. But the military is the only place where you can have a friend like Daryl who will get you those chicken noodle MREs at the end of the day, and know you can count on them.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
no,
I hope that clicks.
I doubt any of your financial friends are, sending you some of their clients, or giving you any
or
kind of tips or advice.
yeah, well, yeah, they do, but it's not. Oh, let's not go down that road because that'll be another
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours of
Yeah.
good, bad, and ugly.
Oh yeah.
But my point is that in the military, all the minuscule things that people in the civilian world think are important, like, for instance, me being new at this financial firm, and I love where I work at Penn Mutual, love it. If there's a new person in the military unit and you're about to deploy, that person has to be responsible for the next 3 levels. That person is responsible for people's lives around them. Where I'm at right now, I could quit and walk away and not care about anybody there.
Yeah.
In the military, you're obligated. You're going. You're going. By the way, you're going.
Yeah.
So you
Oh
have to
yeah.
care. You
You signed the
you
contract.
learn to care. You sign a contract. You learn to care about people that you never thought you would have cared about before. You never thought you would have had something in common before. Turns out everyone's hungry, so we all have that in common. Everyone gets tired, and everyone wants sleep. And that's the 3 things that I think make or made the bond for us in the military.
Yeah. One thing I learned is that,
That's a thing.
that there's a there's something interesting about everybody. You might not be best friends, y'all might not even click on a personal level that much, but there's
Right.
something interesting about people, and like whenever you're obligated to care for them, you you take the steps. I mean, you're bonding, you're together all the time, so you learn stuff about each other. And people that I thought I would never hang out with have been some of my closest friends to this day. So, you know,
Oh, I appreciate you saying that,
mm,
Daryl. Thank you. I know you're talking about me.
no,
I appreciate
no,
that, man.
we had it.
Thank you.
We had it from Midway Basic, man, from the gravel.
I know. I know. Not many times you you fight somebody else for an MRE to give it to another dude.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
basically like fighting the dude for a girl and then be like, hey, by the way, Alyssa, this is Daryl. Like,
yeah.
that doesn't really happen very often.
Oh goodness. So,
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I wanted to. You go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I was wanting to hit back to the serious points though. I know we had some laughs. Um, I'm really proud of you, Daryl. At 27 years old, at that point, you are the age I was when I was becoming friends with you, best friends with you. You're getting like your life together. You realize it's a struggle, day in, day out. You're the one thing I saw from here, besides connecting with Jesus again. Second thing I noticed was your mind change is different. So I think maybe that means you went from I wish I had that job to I'm going to get that job, or I wish I had this much money versus I know how I'm going to make that much money. So I think at 27 years old, man, you're so far ahead of where I was at, and I'm glad to see that. So happy to see that.
I appreciate that, man.
So what's your message? I don't say message. I'm you're not on a what do you call that, a podium?
Oh
But
well,
what changed? Like talk about like how all of a sudden, you know, this is changing, and what's that done for you just by making steps.
Oh
Like you're
yeah,
not going full throttle 100% change Daryl. You've changed incrementally from what I've seen.
yeah.
So tell me about
That's
that.
what it's all about is the incremental change. I was just doing little stuff like cleaning my room in the morning, and it's before I go to work, just getting up and making my bed and cleaning my room.
Sounds stupid. Sounds stupid, but it's a big
Sounds
deal.
stupid, but yeah, it's I don't know what it does. It does something to your confidence. And okay, well, I can do this, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's a hard task, but then the tasks get gradually harder. You stop smoking cigarettes. If I can stop smoking cigarettes, well, I can stop drinking. I can stop smoking marijuana. I can go get this job because I don't have to worry about passing random drug tests. I can go get that career that I want to start. And
Damn, I didn't think about that.
yeah,
That's a good
it's
point, Daryl.
yeah, it just growing up and letting go of things that I loved for the better of my future. And honestly, I didn't give up that much looking back on it because a lot of those things were holding me back.
Man, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Dude, that is crazy to hear you say that. That is like absurd to hear you say that. Um, in a great way. Because this is me talking personally, it feels like a lot giving that up.
Yeah, yeah,
But when you look back, man, I could spend in the army. I had so much free time because I'd work 24 on, sometimes 24 off, or however it worked.
or from your barracks
And when I went
room.
home, like from my barracks room, yeah. Well, I'm talking about when I was in EOD,
Mm.
Mammer Jammer. But when I went home at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, guess what I did when I got home?
Yeah.
Made dinner, drank a beer or two, played video games, watched Netflix. Wasted so much freaking time, and giving, I thought I was living the life, is what I thought. Looking back, if I had put 2 or 3 hours a day into making my own business or researching uh, what I wanted to do after I got out of the army, we're talking about a lifestyle of um, the have and have nots at that point. And I thought I was giving it up to not be watching Netflix, to not be, having cigarettes and drinking beer with the boys, and because our paychecks every single week, right?
Yeah,
Like or every 2 weeks. So to hear you say that, I completely agree. You don't give up that much when you cut this
yeah.
stuff out.
Oh yeah,
When
and
you have direction.
yeah. I'm not saying this is for everyone, but pot made me
Oh, right.
lazy.
Yeah.
It made me lazy,
Yeah.
and now that I've cut it out, like, because I'd always question, like, okay, you get off work and you're going to do what? Like, really? I'm just trying to go chill, lay down, relax.
I'm hanging out, bro.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah.
smoke. I just wanted to smoke and relax, and now I can do. I have so much more motivation to do what I want to do, and now that I see results, it drives you. It just kicks it up another gear.
So what are those results you've seen? Let's say the past year. What are the results you've seen?
Well, just from beating addictions, I feel 100 times healthier. I mean, before I stopped smoking, I was aware that my lungs were hurting. Like, okay, this isn't going to last long if I do this for another 10, 15 years. Um,
And by the way, Daryl was one of the fastest runners I've ever known. Just to cut back on that. So yeah, go ahead.
um, yeah, and stop drinking and stop smoking, like, because those were priorities, and those aren't good priorities to have. You know,
Right.
whenever I was at work, it's like, okay, I can't wait to get off and smoke and drink a little bit and just chill out and get ready for it tomorrow. But now that I'm not doing that, I realize that that's not a very good existence. Now I can get off work, I can go work out a little bit. Um, I can start talking about what we've been talking about. I've been investing my money more wisely and growing, my portfolio and, building assets, stuff that actually matters.
Right.
Getting high and getting drunk, that's a temporary thing, and it's not sustainable if you want to be successful.
To me, alcohol is a pleasure now. When I drink alcohol, it is going to be a time where it's appropriate and it's a celebration kind of thing, right? In the past, it's been a coping mechanism. Um, that is a struggle that I hope ends. How's that? How hope ends? Let me rephrase this. It's always going to be a struggle to not make it a fallback, is what I mean. But because of the people I'm trying to align myself with, like people like Daryl literally motivates me to be a better financial advisor, motivates me to be a better podcast host, motivates me to be a better person. And I'll never be a faster runner, but dang it if I don't try. Right.
Yes, everybody has strong qualities, and if you can get those qualities from if you can find the people that are going to draw out your best qualities along with you drawing out theirs, then it's just going to be a reciprocal relationship, and you can help each other get better. And I've noticed that since we've reconnected here, these past few months.
How can we phrase that? Like that's so I look at my older brother, Shane, and his quality of friends, from my experience with them, is unsurmountable. I mean, you wouldn't believe how awesome these people are. Um, I can call any of his friends, that I've met and talk about anything just because they're good people. And, I'm Shane's little brother, sure, but they're good people who, if I needed to call them and talk to them about something I couldn't talk to Shane about, they would probably listen. I know they would listen, actually.
Yeah.
And he's 8 years older than me. So I look at him and my other two older brothers, Jay and Stason, and I notice that right now is kind of the pivotal time in life for us. Between your 25 and 40, maybe between 25 and 45. The people you hang out with, the people you interact with, really lead to how you develop as a person. And I've never been more sure of that in my life than the past 3 months. Whenever this whole thing has taken place.
Yeah, well,
So
this thing, it brought us together, and I've already seen results. And no, I'm just now realizing that, because a lot of the people that I were hanging out with were friends from high school that never changed from high school, and it it
yeah.
kept me. And I'm not shitting on them, because it kept me like I was in high
No,
school. You know, I
yeah,
just I
no.
just made up a decision in my mind that I do not want to be like this. It's time to grow up, and I didn't know what that looked like. There's not a
That's the hardest
handbook
thing
like,
for me.
hey,
Hey,
go
here's
ahead.
a picture. This is what you want to look like if I were to draw you in a few years, in 5 years. This is what you should look like, right? There's no picture like that. There's no
Yeah,
guy at the what do you call it, New York park that's sitting there drawing a picture of people in 5 years from now of how they should look.
yeah,
That doesn't happen, and that's the
yeah,
hardest thing for me is hearing people back from my hometown who think I'm better than them, or that I'm cool because I have a podcast. Like it sounds silly. Like this podcast, like we've had 2,000 unique full downloads, which we hit like last week, which is a huge deal to me. Like 2,000 is a huge deal, um, and I'm very proud of what I've done. But my friends from high school, some of them I've noticed think that I'm better than them. And I'm sure you probably feel the same way as you separate, like cut those ties of like, hey, time to grow up, time to figure out what's next. And it's difficult to separate that because I don't like anybody hating me. and I'm definitely not better than anybody because I'm not judging anybody else on what they're doing with their life. I'm doing my thing, they're doing theirs. So how do you deal with that conversation that comes up when they message you or you hear about them thinking Daryl's better than us, he's got a career now,
Yeah.
or he's got a better job? How do you deal with that?
I wish I had a concrete answer. Um, I'll you know, I'll just leave it as it's nothing personal, man. Like I'm doing this for me, and there's nothing to say that you can't be part of this. But if this is this is what you want to do, I'm sorry, I'm changing, and I'm not going to tell you to change. But if yeah, like I said, I don't have a concrete answer for that one, man. I wish I did.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to get some therapy session from Daryl over here, and he's not really helping me out.
Well,
Uh, I'm
uh,
kidding. I'm kidding you, Daryl.
well, no, because I've also heard the
We're going through the same
negative.
things,
I've heard the negative sides because I've wanted to start a podcast, and then I've talked to some of my friends around here, and they're like, "Man, who the fuck's gonna listen to you?" It's like, well, at least I'm doing something, man. What are you doing? Like,
I appreciate you saying that, man.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, I don't know, man. I
Obviously
want
not you. You're not going to
no,
listen.
no, I want to make a podcast, and dude, if you told me I got 2,000 fucking views, I'd be like, no fucking way, dude. I'd be happy with 200 views, man. You know, that's 200
That's
people
awesome.
that
Thank you. I
listen,
appreciate
man.
that.
That's 200 people. That's not
Right.
a small number, man. That's not a small
Yeah.
number at all. So to have 2,000, man, that's insane, man. And I'm proud of you for that shit, man,
Yeah.
because
Well,
that's nice. And 2,000 people, man, yeah, that's a big audience.
yeah, I hope so. And my eventual goal is to go live, of course, but it's going to take people like you getting involved in this, and like anybody who's listening to this who's like thinking, man, I'd love to get involved with the podcast. I have great ideas. Like, message us or message me. Like, I'm running a one show pony over here, and it's a lot of work. People don't understand how much work goes into this. Like, this mic, this filter, this stand, the mixer,
Yeah,
all
and
this
then
stuff.
yeah, it's
Go
not
ahead, sorry.
simple. It's not simple in the fact that we're doing this along with working more than full-time jobs. It's this isn't just, oh, we're doing this because we're trying to make a difference or make an impact or just to get our thoughts out there, honestly. And
It's
to
therapeutic.
have to do that
Really,
after a
it is.
long day of work, yeah, dude, it's just a conversation, man. I'm talking to one of my best friends right now, and it's not as bad
And
as I
hopefully
thought,
somebody
man.
else is listening.
Yeah, yeah. Well, somebody's going to listen. They better.
Hey, if you're
But
not listening right now, okay, okay, yeah, go ahead.
no, this I said I was going to plug you in earlier, and I'm going to, man, because
Let's
it's
not worry about
really
that. No,
well,
I
man.
appreciate it.
It should be
You want to?
something because it's actually helped me out, man. It's gonna help me long term. If you don't want to, you don't have to, man. I can understand wanting to keep business away from your other, something you do for fun.
Well, so here's my concern. Let's cut it off right here. I want to hear a few more words from you, and I would love to talk about my business. You know me, I love talking about what I do for a living,
Yeah,
and the reason why I have this podcast, the reason why I made it the Blue Falcon uh, podcast. By the way, that means buddy effer in the military. Um, it's an ironic term, is why I named it this, because everyone who gets out of the military is trying to make a first force podcast or something like all special ops, brr, 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 brr. And I wanted to go on the ironic side, just to give you guys a heads up of this is just a different kind of podcast, and I don't like to have a guest on for the first time, especially, uh, and talk about my personal financial consulting business and how I've helped you out with that. I appreciate, dude. I love it. Let's do it another time. But I think this message and like how I'm going to hashtag this content is going to be geared towards having somebody to talk to for veterans or anybody else who needs somebody to talk to, and coming out of the ether, coming out of, I mean, you're 27 years old and you figured out that's incremental. It's not over a long, it's not over a short period of time that you change. And I think that's the best message I can give people. And if you want to come back on, I'm sure people will let me know. Like, yeah, get Daryl back on and talk to us about how you helped them financially. But your message is more powerful and can save more lives. So please hit on that, and we'll summarize that, and we'll close this out.
Okay, closing messages. So for any veterans out there that are suffering with any kind of post-separation depression or just, like sense of purpose, just know that you're not alone. I can go through my Facebook any time of day and I can see countless friends, man, just going through it. And, I hate it. I hate it a lot. And I've had plenty of friends call me on the brink of suicide, and it's not like they're wanting to talk about some deep philosophical stuff. They just want to talk about their problems, or they just want to talk in general. And I've been at the brink of depression too, and just needed somebody to talk to. It's not that I needed to tell them anything in particular. I just needed to be heard. And,
somebody just to listen to what I have to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to hog up all the talk. I just want somebody there to listen. Just, if you're there to listen, and yeah, man, that's what it's all about, man. Just listening.
Well, do you mind if I give or put your contact information, like your Facebook?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can put my Facebook, email, any of that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be calling you, just so you know. So.
Oh yeah. No, I guarantee it. But I think we did. I think we did a decent job. If anybody has any critiques on what I could do better, because I want to start my own podcast one day. But y'all see the information. If y'all don't tell me I'm stupid, go ahead. It won't hurt my feelings. But anything could help.
I'll go ahead and tell you. You don't have to hear from the audience. I'll tell you. You're stupid. But you're the most intelligent person I know when it comes to stuff you research.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that.
If I've studied it, I know it. I got you. So if I haven't,
well, you're from Alabama. You guys weren't taught much. Okay.
Just a little classier, you know what? OSU. Just a little classier OSU.
Go Pokes. Go Vols. And you know what? I'll say it because my Aunt Sheila loves Auburn. She went to Auburn. Go Auburn Tigers.
War Eagle.
You're welcome, Daryl. Okay, but that's War Eagle. Guys, thank you so much for listening. This is the Blue Falcon Podcast. I'm Bobby Stegall. Daryl Brownfield was my guest tonight. And please leave your comments, like, share, all the other silly stuff. It may seem silly for you to do, but it really means a lot to the people who put in work, aka is me, just me right now. When you like, comment, and share this content, I understand that it's getting out to people. And if it changes one person's life, Daryl, I'm sure you'll agree, this hour and a half or 2 hours was well beyond worth it. And
very much so.
Very much so. Also, if you guys have any ideas for the podcast or next guest you guys like to have on, I'm calling Chris Pratt tomorrow. He's probably not going to answer, but I'm going to call his agent and see if he'll come on the podcast. So let me know what special guests you want on. And Daryl Brownfield, stay sexy. Leave your hat backwards. I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. You take care now.